Today on Rappler, the United Nationalist Alliance attacks Team Pinoy campaign manager Frank Drilon. The World Bank expects the Philippines to grow more than 6% every year the next 2 years. And the United States says it will talk with North Korea if it takes meaningful steps towards peace. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The United Nationalist Alliance, UNA, campaigns in Western Visayas, a region the administration claims, with Team Pinoy campaign manager Frank Drilon promising a sweep for the administration slate. UNA candidates go on the offensive. Ay Makaraig reports.
Balita ko, yung mga kandidato sa kabila, they're all scared already. They really have to work overtime.
Vice President Jejo Marbinay is in fighting form as he and his senatorial candidates enter yellow turf. Binay leads the opposition's campaign in vote-rich Iloilo, the home province of Team Pinoy campaign manager Senator Frank Drilon. UNA's founder lost to the Liberal Party's Mau Roxas in the province and the rest of Western Visayas in 2010. After all, it is Roxas's home region, but in politics, Binay says there are no permanent friends and bailiwicks. This time, Binay counts on new allies in Iloilo. He is fielding the Biron clan against the LP's Troika, the Defensors Tupases and Garins. With Drilon promising a sweep for Team Pinoy in Iloilo, Binay's allies go on attack mode.
In 2010, Senator Frank Drilon endorsed my opponent, then Governor Neil Tupas. And the results of his endorsement, Tupas lost by 50,000 votes. That is how strong the endorsement is of Senator Drilon.
Even in UNA's proclamation rally in Barotac Nuevo, Drilon and his projects get a beating.
The Drilon Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Drilon Bridge is falling down. Ahay, Drilon.
UNA senatorial candidates admit winning in the region is an uphill battle. They come together to visit Iloilo, Aklan, Antique, and Negros Occidental, criticizing Team Pinoy for deserting President Aquino in the administration's recent sortie in Iloilo. Yet UNA bets say in the coming weeks, they will also have to go on their own.
Eventually, baka magkanya-kanya din kami individually as a candidate. Kasi syempre, like ako, may mga probinsya na mas priority sa akin compared to the other candidates. Alam mo naman, ang aim is to win.
Cagayan Representative Jack Enria says the candidates will focus on areas where they are strong. With less than a month left before the polls, UNA campaigns in Waterloos like Western Visayas to win or at least narrow the gap with Team Pinoy. But as the race tightens, the opposition admits the game is boiling down to every candidate for herself. Ay Makaraig, Rappler, Negros Occidental.
Cagayan Representative Jack Enria says he's expecting more attacks following questions about his role in the 1975 murder of student Ernest Lucas Jr. In a cable released by WikiLeaks last week, then U.S. Ambassador William Sullivan said he was convinced Enria killed Lucas. In September 1975, then 16-year-old Enria asked Lucas to leave a party exclusive to Ateneo students. Later that night, Lucas died of a bullet shot in the forehead. Enria's aide said he killed Lucas. Lucas's uncle, activist priest Father Robert Reyes, said they did not pursue charges against Jack Enria because his father, then Defense Minister Juan Ponce Enria, had tremendous power during the Marcos years. In a 2011 court deposition, Lucas's father claims the elder Enria allegedly offered him 2 blank checks to drop the case. In a press briefing Sunday, Jack Enria says the court records will, quote, bear me out. He says the issue was dug up to bring down his chances of getting a Senate seat.
Una-una lumantugtog na yan, 4 decades old. It happened to a young boy when he was 16 years old. And basically that young boy has grown up to be a man. His life has changed. Ang katanungan lang is, bakit may election na? We're expecting it. We're expecting more attacks, more black propaganda, more crazy allegations that are going to be thrown at us.
Enria calls the renewed allegations a demolition job, quote, done in order to derail my plan to look into and expose a government project that's highly questionable and grossly disadvantageous to the public. Asked to elaborate, Enria says he will make the expose soon, adding the project involves, quote, very high-ranking officials. Charismatic group El Shaddai leads the White Vote movement and endorses its first group of senatorial candidates who are against the reproductive health law, same-sex marriage, and divorce. The group endorses United Nationalist Alliance Bets JV Ejercito, Gregorio Onasan, and Mitos Magsaysay, and Team Pinoy Cynthia Villar, Antonio Trillanes IV, and Coco Pimentel. In his homily, Bishop Teodoro Bacani criticizes groups that are against the so-called Catholic vote. He says in Filipino, "We, men of the altar, are not allowed to endorse, but we could whisper it to you." He adds, "No group should tell us you cannot endorse. That's the right of every responsible Catholic." A month before the Philippines goes to the polls, 6 senatorial candidates faced the public in the Rappler senatorial debate Saturday. It was the first media debate held in an open space to allow a free exchange of ideas on issues that matter. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
Una po sa lahat, sa totoo lang po, medyo kinakabahan po ako.
Nerve-wracking is the word candidates used to describe Rappler's first ever senatorial debate. Held at the Quezon Memorial Circle, it is the first time in these elections a debate is staged in a public place. Viewers and listeners vote on how candidates make them feel after every round through Rappler's mood meter. A mixed audience of real and virtual participate, and the format includes a face-off section where bets shoot each other questions. Among the fieriest exchange, Teddy Casino of Bayan Muna and Risa Hontiveros of Akbayan from rival groups in the Philippine left. Akbayan is allied with the President's slate Team Pinoy for the 2013 elections.
Ikaw ba ay pabor na si Rufi Biazon ay tanggalin o umalis na sa pwesto dahil hindi niya nagagampanan yung kanyang tungkulin?
Ang pinakamagandang sagutin sa konteksto ng isang mas malawak na pagbabago na dapat isang mas radikal na pagbabago ang gawin sa Bureau of Customs. Pero bakit sa loob ng 9 na taon ninyo sa House, para hindi ko pa kayo narinig ni minsan na magsalita kung pang-aabuso na ng New People's Army sa ordinaryong mamamayan ang naging issue?
Kung pang-aabuso ang pag-uusapan, talagang yung mga persons in uniform, ang mga may pananagutan at mga may sala, pagdating ho sa human rights violations.
Bets also answer questions from the audience and social media.
A lot of us, non-JIL Filipinos are worried. How sure are we that you will not continue to promote the interests of your group?
At ang JIL movement, para sa kalaman ng lahat, ay hindi sectarian religion. This is a non-sectarian movement. Nang layunin ay turuan ng taong bayang mahalin ang Diyos at mahalin ang bayan.
What exactly was FPJ's political legacy that you want to continue since he had no political experience?
Si FPJ, bilang isang artista, kahit na wala naman siya sa pwesto, kung ano man ang kanyang kinita, na natulungan niya ang maraming tao.
The debate ends with candidates summing up why the voters should vote for them.
Pero higit pa po sa Bam Aquino bilang isang leader ng kabataan, higit pa po sa Bam Aquino na nagtrabaho sa mga maliliit na komunidad upang matulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyante, si Bam Aquino po ay isang anak ng people power.
I did not inherit my father's name or my mother's name or their work. Ako po, ginagawa ko yung tungkulin ko, nakat ako, I was told, you earn everything. You do not inherit fame.
The debate gives candidates an opportunity not just to share their platforms, but to get a feel of voters' sentiments. #Rappler Debate trends worldwide and in the Philippines, while the debate's mood meter registers tens of thousands of votes. An enthusiastic audience both on-site and online highlights the willingness of Filipinos to engage in the lead-up to the May 2013 elections. The debate's ability to reach a wider group of voters means more opportunities for conversation. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
The World Bank forecasts the Philippines will grow more than 6% every year the next 2 years. In its East Asia and the Pacific Economic Update report released Monday, the bank says the country is expected to grow to 6.2% in 2013, 6.4% in 2014. While the forecasts are lower than the 6.6% growth posted by the Philippine economy in 2012, these are higher than the Asian Development Bank outlook of 6% in 2013 and 5.9% in 2014. The World Bank says the Philippines' macroeconomic fundamentals remain strong and reform efforts by the government appear sustainable. It adds, strong domestic demand is an indicator that growth will be robust in 2013. Other indicators remain positive for the Philippines, especially the recent upgrade to investment grade by Fitch Ratings. The World Bank urges the government to continue investing in infrastructure and human capital. The Philippine Coast Guard says it found hundreds of frozen anteaters or pangolins in the cargo hold of the Chinese boat that ran aground in Tubataha last week. Coast Guard spokesman Lieutenant Commander Armand Balilo says authorities found 400 boxes containing anteaters on board the vessel. He couldn't say whether the pangolins were frozen alive or had already been butchered as meat. The International Union of Conservation of Nature says all 8 species of the pangolin are protected by international law. In China, they're considered a delicacy and are said to have medicinal qualities. Pangolins are found roaming in the wild in Palawan, the nearest land area to Tubataha Reef, where the Chinese boat ran aground. The discovery could lead to more charges for the 12 Chinese men who were charged with illegal poaching and attempting to bribe Filipino officials. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the United States will talk with North Korea if it takes meaningful steps towards peace, as the world waits to see if Pyongyang will fire 2 medium-range missiles in honor of late former leader Kim Il-sung. Speaking in Japan on the last leg of his Asian tour, Kerry appeals to the North to step back. He says the United States remains open to authentic and credible negotiations on denuclearization, but the burden is on Pyongyang. Washington says the 6-party talks on denuclearization, which include North and South Korea, Japan, Russia, China, and the United States, is the only forum at which it will sit with Pyongyang. South Korean President Park Geun-hye signals the need to open a dialogue and listen to what North Korea thinks. But the North dismisses this as, quote, empty talk and a crafty trick to conceal Seoul's aggressive intentions. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, Venezuelans flocked to the polls Sunday to pick the successor of their late leader, Hugo Chavez. Voters choose between the anointed heir, acting President Nicolas Maduro, and his opponent, Enrique Capriles, who vowed change to the divided nation. Maduro wins by a razor-thin margin of 50.66%. He promised to continue oil-funded anti-poverty programs that cut poverty from 50 to 29%. Maduro and Capriles engaged in a bitter campaign marked by insults and accusations. Capriles, though, refuses to concede defeat. The winner will be sworn in Friday. At number 9, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments Monday on whether to allow private entities to patent genes they have isolated and identified. The court will review a 2012 appeals court decision that allowed biotechnology company Myriad Genetics, Inc. to patent 2 genes it found had links to breast and ovarian cancer. The ruling drew protests from associations representing researchers, doctors, and patients who want the court to overturn the decision. Lawyer Sandra Park of the American Civil Liberties Union says extracting a gene from a cell to isolate it does not constitute an invention by itself. Joseph Stiglitz, a Nobel laureate in economics, says Myriad's patents create a, quote, lack of access for further development of basic research. But Myriad says it created synthetic molecules of DNA in the laboratory. The Supreme Court's decision is expected in June. And at number 10, a text message changes a ruling that could have seen celebrated golf player Tiger Woods disqualified at the Masters, the sport's biggest event. Woods was given a 2-stroke penalty on Saturday for hitting from the wrong spot on Friday, a violation flagged by an observant television viewer. The viewer notified the Masters Rules Committee, which decided there was no violation. Later, Woods unwittingly admitted playing from the wrong spot. He could have been disqualified for signing an incorrect scorecard, but the committee says it could not impose a disqualification penalty because its earlier decision mitigated his culpability.